Podcasting from down on the bayou. It's the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, powered by Lake Area Media, LLC. And now your hosts, David Boston and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to episode 105 of the AMP Wrestling Podcast. I'm David Boston. He is Patrick Fry. We are sponsored today by our Amazon affiliate link. Not so much a sponsor, but what's cool about the Amazon affiliate link, Patrick, is everybody can do it. If you like our content and you want to help support us, this is a free way because I know everyone listening right now shops on Amazon. So, tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP. Amazon AMP. When you get that on your browser, go ahead and save it, bookmark it, whether it's on your mobile or your PC or whatever, your tablet, doesn't matter. And then every time that you buy something from Amazon, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, your boys get a little commission, no cost added to you.
You know, you're going to hate me now that I'm about to say this, but I did some shopping on Amazon the other day.
Patrick Fry.
And completely forgot that we had this that we could use, and bought a couple of golfing shirts, and, well, forgot to use that.
Every time we try to put this podcast over.
Hey, man, look, I'm still getting used to, you know, we came out of hiatus a year and a half. This is only like our 10th episode back, just still getting used to it. Yeah. We're still trying to work out the kinks.
Knock off those training wheels, son.
Well, I think I've worked out the kinks from a technical matter here for the most part, but as far as remembering, hey, maybe I should put in that Amazon link or whatever the case may be whenever I buy something from Amazon. That thought process still has not come back yet. So next time, I promise, I need to write a note somewhere. Like every time I log on to Amazon and have a note. If you buy something, use tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP.
Well, no, you don't have to use that every time. You just use it one time and then you bookmark it in your Safari.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's it. That's easy. I didn't know that.
And every time you want to go to Amazon, you just go to your bookmarks. Or is that what they're called in Safari as well?
I don't use Safari. I'm a Google Chrome guy.
Okay, well then, yeah, your bookmarks then.
I would assume that Safari has the same thing. Though.
Yeah.
I use Google Chrome though.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Then you just bookmark it, and every time you just go to your bookmarks, go to your Amazon right there. Wham, bam. As I said before, your boys get a little commission. It's not much, but it helps out in the long run.
Every little bit helps. It'll add up. One person uses it, then another person uses it. If I use it, I know my girlfriend likes to do Amazon stuff. I'm going to try to get her to use it.
Nice.
And things like that, they add up. And hey, a few extra bucks in our pockets to help, how can I say this, improve the podcast in any way we can.
Yeah, we know we're not going to make money to go full-time on this, so all the money that we do get from it, we're going to put it back into the podcast.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, equipment.
This is not our full-time job, so we don't make a living off this podcast. We just do this for fun, but if we can make a little bit of money out of it, too, we're not going to be mad about it either.
Yeah. Help us pay for sponsored posts on social media and all that good stuff. tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP.
All right. Well, on today's episode, number 105 of the AMP Wrestling Podcast for Thursday, July the 8th, 2021. Boy, what a night last night.
Yes, sir.
We had down in Miami for Road Rager, Malaki Black, formerly known as Aleister Black or Tommy End. He's got so many names at this point. I don't know what to call him, but
that dude that bangs Zelina.
Yes, that is another. That might be his favorite name that someone has given him. But I am from here on out now going to call him Malaki Black. Made his debut last night. We're going to talk about that as well as Road Rager. It was a really good show. First show on the road for AEW. It was an electric crowd. We're going to talk about it. Some good things happened last night. We'll talk about that. Also look forward to next week, Fyter Fest, another stacked card, another show on the road. Sold out already in Cedar Park, Texas, which is in the greater Austin area. Next week, Fyter Fest, night one, sold out. That should be an amazing crowd over there. And Jimmy Uso was arrested for DUI. We're going to talk about that. I think that's offense number, 4 for him?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think so.
Or at least 4 that we know of.
Yeah, at least that we know of. I mean, just because he's been arrested 4 times doesn't necessarily mean he's only done it 4 times. He's, obviously if you've been arrested for DUI 4 times, odds are you've probably drank and drive few more times than that. So we'll talk about that. Also, WWE SmackDown will be at the Rolling Loud Music Festival. I don't even know what to make of that, but we're going to talk about that coming up as well. And then we're going to do we're going to bring back an old segment. I don't think have we done this yet since we've come back from hiatus? Are they worth it? We used to do it with the WWE wrestlers, and now we're going to do it with the AEW, some AEW wrestlers, which I guess you got some salaries.
Yes. Now,
I don't know how you. Where did you get these salaries?
Okay. I'll have to put this out there. From the website that I got it from, the guy says that this isn't public knowledge, but from different interviews and different research, he is pretty sure that these are around the figures that these cats are making.
Okay. Well, whatever the case may be, you'll throw the number at me. I will say whether or not they are worth that amount of money. Also, of course, rumor mill, as usual. Tony Khan, what is his big plans? He mentioned on Busted Open Radio yesterday morning, a lot of surprises. Obviously, we got one last night. We're going to have some more surprises, obviously, in the coming weeks and in the coming months. What are those big plans for AEW that Tony Khan has? We'll talk about that. Also, some big plans for Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine. They just recently, of course, made their debut in NXT a few weeks ago. And Ruby Riott filed for a new trademark, so... What does that mean for Ruby Riott coming up? And then, of course, we're going to talk about, I guess we're going to step away from wrestling just a little bit, talk about the XFL, how their launch was pushed back a little bit. Of course, The Rock now is running things with the XFL. The Rock, I think, is his original wife that he married, I believe.
That's so strange.
His OG wife, if you will. Yeah, I guess, hey, look, if it works, it works. So if they can make it work, more power to them. But we'll talk about all of that coming up here on The Average Marks, episode number 105 for Thursday, July the 8th, 2021.
Yeah, find us on your favorite social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast. It's that simple.
All right. Well, first topic is obviously what happened last night. I do not believe they came out with the numbers yet from last night. Let me go to Twitter real quick, but it was Road Rager, first show on the road for AEW. I was hyped up about it all day long. Heck, even all the last week, I was like just ready. I was like, I'm ready for a full crowd. I'm ready for a road show. Granted, they still have not left the state of Florida yet, but they will be next week when they head to Texas. But last night, Road Rager, the biggest news story of the night, obviously, Malaki Black, formerly known as Aleister Black in WWE, making his debut. And it was interesting the way they set this up, because I don't know if you noticed this. Obviously, I mean, you had to have noticed this. The opening match was Cody versus QT Marshall, the strap match.
Right.
Pretty decent match. But in the middle of that match, the lights went out.
Right.
And nothing happened. It came back on. Cody looked a little lost. And obviously, they've had a tropical storm / hurricane pass through that area the last couple of days. And the announcer started to play it off like, we've had some bad weather come through the area, which is true. So, and obviously, where we're from, we know a lot about hurricanes and the aftermath of them as well. Granted, this hurricane was not nearly as strong as the one we've experienced last year, but it
didn't even hit Miami.
We know the difficulties and the power outages and whatever the case may be that can come after a big storm like that. So at first I'm thinking maybe they're playing it off. I don't know, but nothing happened. Thought maybe we were going to get a payoff after the match. Nothing happened. We go on to the next match and nothing came out of it. So, and I forgot about it at that point. I forgot everything about it. So, the night keeps going on, match after match, and then there was a segment where Tony Schiavone was in the ring with Arn Anderson. And, he talked about, Cody got the big match, the big win earlier in the night against QT Marshall. His son Brock won his debut. Things are looking good for for Arn Anderson right now, this and that. And then Arn, trying to get the crowd fired up. He's like, man, it's great to be back. And how good is it to be here in Miami? It's great that we missed all you guys, talking to the fans and stuff. And then he said, let's just get down to it, down to business. Lights shut out again. And I'm thinking, at this point, here we go again. The lights go out again.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't know what to expect, because the lights went out once already. Nothing happened. Maybe the lights go out again. Nothing happens. Well, the lights come back on, and boy, did something ever happen. Malaki Black is standing in the ring, and immediately I knew who it was.
Right.
The fans in Miami knew who it was. Huge pop for Malaki Black. He gives a black mass to Arn Anderson, knocks him out cold. Cody comes out of nowhere. Like it's as if he was like just waiting for it to happen. Like I mean, he was there in a split second, and like I think he came out of the crowd. He didn't come out of the entranceway. He came out through the crowd. So it's as if he was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was under the ring at this point. He just, I mean, 5 seconds after Orn gets kicked, Cody's in the ring. Next thing you know, Malaki and Cody are kind of facing off here, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, I'm liking this. I like where this is going. And Malaki sort of steps back, and because Cody wants to check on Orn, obviously, wants to make sure he's okay because he just got kicked in the face by Malaki Black. So, and Malaki kind of, acts like he's going to, step off. I'll let you check on your man. Cody goes to check on his man, and Malaki Black pops Cody with a black mass, knocks him out, and that's pretty much the end of that. And the crowd obviously started chanting Tommy because they can't hear the announcers, but the announcers at first called him Tommy End, which is what I would have assumed was his name. Obviously, it wasn't going to be Aleister Black. They called him Tommy End, and then Excalibur says, no, that's Malaki Black.
This is the man I wrestled in 2011 in Dusseldorf, Germany.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So he says, no, this is Malaki Black. So we get the confirmation of who it is, Malaki Black. And I'm curious, a lot of people were wondering why Malaki Black. They believe that since his name was Aleister Black in WWE, let's not change too much of it. Let's try to, maybe get a little bit of that Aleister Black here in AEW. And someone was like, yeah, Tony's figuring it out now. He's figuring this out. So I'm okay with the name Malaki Black. I'm cool with it. No big deal. I know they're going to book him correctly in AEW.
I mean, are they?
I think they will. It depends because I know you got your thoughts on this coming up here, and I'm going to let you have the floor here in just a second because it would appear that I guess his first feud is going to be with Cody Rhodes.
Oh, of course. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
I'll let you. Your thoughts.
I mean, I don't have much to say. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like it just ruined the whole thing for me. Like, he came out. I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh damn, there's Cody. All right, I see where this is going.
So, and look, we all know Cody's history of putting himself over in AEW, but I'm hoping this will be different because this is.
Well, you can hope all you want.
Well, and here's the thing too, Cody. There are some instances where Cody ultimately will put himself over, maybe not so initially put himself over. Cody has done this before where it was like when he fought Brody Lee. Brody Lee dismantled him for the TNT title. Brody Lee goes over, wins the belt. Then Cody returns, puts himself over. There you go. So ultimately puts himself over. Initially doesn't put himself over. I don't know when we're going to get, Malachi's first match in AEW. Maybe it All Out with Cody, but who knows? But and one of the other first things I was thinking of was, wait a minute, this math is not adding up.
Yep.
How is he in AEW? Because doesn't he have a 90-day no-compete clause? Well, it was not long after Road Rager went off the air that PW Insider was reporting that apparently there was a clerical error. I think that's
some
the word.
jabroni.
Somebody screwed up somewhere.
In Stamford.
Well, apparently NXT superstars have if they get released, they have a 30-day no-compete clause, and obviously Aleister was in NXT before he went to the main roster, and when you go to the main roster, that changes to a 90-day no-compete clause if you get released. Well, that obviously was not changed. Somebody didn't change that on his contract with WWE, so he only had a 30-day no-compete clause, and there he is at Road Rager showing up. AEW, which, hey, it seems like it worked out for everyone, maybe with the exception of WWE.
Do you think WWE knew that they didn't do that, or when he showed up, they were like, "Oh hell no, we're about to sue these dudes," and then they were like, "Let's look at his contract," and they're like, "Oh crap."
My guess is that
the old man's going to be furious.
I really don't know if that. I think that's something that eventually will come out, whether or not they found out before or they realized it after, because it seems like PW Insider, like not long after the show went off the air, they were reporting that, hey, this is what the issue was. So maybe this was something that was known already.
Or they could have got that info from the AEW people.
It's possible. Which is true, because Alistair, obviously, or Malaki, whatever you want to call him now, I would assume he had a copy of this contract somewhere, and he probably looked at it and said, hey, I'm only allowed to not compete for 30 days instead of 90 days. Maybe he saw it. Maybe he saw it, showed it to Tony Khan, and Tony was like, maybe he got his lawyers and said, hey, can we double-check this and look into this? Because obviously I think you have to do your due diligence in something like this. You don't want Vince coming after you, of all people.
Yeah.
But I think someone looked into it. They said, he's good. All right, first road show, we're bringing you out. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened last night. So I think that's how it went down. It may have gone down differently, but that's my take on it.
Did you find it kind of corny that he was still selling the eye injury?
No, and honestly, I forgot about the eye injury because I hadn't really paid that much attention to WWE.
So did most people.
I just thought it was part of his look, and then some people started talking about the eye injury. I think that Buddy Murphy gave to him, and how he's still selling it. I'm okay with it because that is what we like to call keeping kayfabe alive. Whether it's from company to company, that's okay. I'm fine with that. Plus, I think that look on his character, in my opinion, that could be a permanent look, and it would be fine. Because for some reason, and that's the thing, I didn't even realize that it was selling the eye injury that he received in WWE. I thought that was just his look, because to me the look matched the character. So I'm okay if he looks like that for the remainder of his AEW career, as long as this is his character, which I assume it will be. But and here's another thing too. He dropped that little promo video on his social media the day of, and that right there, you know, normally in the past when wrestlers have done something like that just got released, usually that is like the start of like, all right, this is me. I'm looking for work. I'm trying to go somewhere. Where will I end up? Alistair basically said, hey, without saying it, like, I'm here. You just don't know it yet. I'm in AEW. You're going to find out in a few hours, but I'm here.
Yeah.
So that was, I think that sort of, based on the pattern of other superstars in the past, made the shock value a little bit higher when Alistair or Malaki, I'm going to keep calling him one thing or another here, when Malaki showed up at Road Rager last night. So I think that actually helped the shock value and everything, and the fact that no one knew it was a 30-day no-compete clause versus a 90-day no-compete clause. And I think with all of that, I think, and the way they executed it, you know, the light goes off in the first match, nothing happens, light goes off again, and then boom, there he is. I think everything went off to a T as far as his debut and how everything just went down, the shock value, everything just went perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Look, and I think the match between him and Cody is going to be great.
It's going to be amazing. As long as Malaki wins.
But at the same time, I was just like, you couldn't give him coming in on anybody else.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Cody, he's been feuding with QT and his little group, and Cody's done beat them down so many times that, okay, now this is something good for Cody to do now, because now he really has nothing. Like, this is finally, I think, a way to get QT Marshall and his group out of Cody's hair, because that, in my opinion, has started to run its course. A lot of other people kind of doing stuff right now. Obviously, Cody, Kenny and Hangman, I think they're about to start a little something.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. Kenny and Hangman's going to start something. Who else? The TNT title. Miro, I would have loved to see him maybe come out. We didn't even see Miro last night, but Darby's feuding with Ethan Page. Moxley's got a title match next week. He's coming back now. And the Bucks, they're doing their thing with Penta and Eddie Kingston. They had their great match last night and everything. So I feel like it was a good transition for Cody to go from finally getting rid of QT Marshall and the factory, and now he's got Malaki Black to deal with, who is going to be a little more trouble for Cody than QT Marshall and the factory was.
Do you think it would have worked if he would have showed up during the face-off between Jericho and MJF for like a three-way coming up on the pay-per-view?
No, and that's another thing too. The Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, and that's another thing that I think is starting to run its course a little bit. But I think they all got their thing going right now. They're trying to finish that off, and I think that strap match with Cody winning defiantly was a way to finish off that particular feud. So, yeah, I think, and Alistair and Cody are two big names. So, I think when you got a big name like Alistair, in my opinion, that's the best. Just because the crowd was there, the pop he got, just how everything transpired. Arguably, that is the best debut, in my opinion, that AEW has had so far. For anybody coming into the company, I'm not counting the guys who showed up there originally. Well, I don't know, Moxley's up there, and I would almost consider Moxley an original, but he did debut at the original event.
Right.
So his obviously is up there, but since then, I think Malaki has had the best debut. So it's been so it was really cool to see that last night, and he's probably their biggest acquisition they've had all year, in my opinion. Christian's up there, obviously, but Malaki is a huge get for AEW, to the surprise of maybe not many people, but I think him and Cody to start it off. I mean, this dude is going to be something. I think I'm glad they're going to feed him to a big fish and not make him go on like dark and start fighting these little guys and build up a record. Like, they're throwing him into the fire, and I think that's where he needs to be, because we're going to find out very soon just how good he really is.
Yeah, and speaking of good, how awesome was it when that fan tried to get in the ring and old Jericho potatoed with him back of the head?
Yeah, Jericho got a nice piece of him. I wish MJF would have got a piece of him, because it just would have been great to see MJF get a piece of him, just because he's MJF.
Yeah.
And obviously the guy tried to get into the ring, and MJF, if any one of you fat white pieces of trash want to get in this ring, I'll beat your ass too, or whatever he said, something along those lines. But hey, man, fans back. It was a rowdy crowd last night.
Yeah.
One fan tried to get into the ring. He didn't get very far.
No.
He didn't even get in the ring. So
security was right there.
Yeah, so that was another interesting part of the show last night. But
I tell you what was a big letdown in the show. Andrade's wrestling debut.
I didn't think it was that. I mean,
dude, Matt Sydal had a better match on Dark the night before. It was wonky at times. It was like they were missing marks, and it's like they didn't know what each other was doing at some points, and it was just like it was awkward.
Yeah, and it could have been the jitters with maybe Andrade, but certainly, it's a new stage for Andrade. I don't know if he's ever wrestled Matt Sydal before or not, so they may not have that chemistry together, but I think it was okay. The move of the night from him was he did like a moonsault off the top rope, and Sydal, as Andrade's moving out, moonsaulting in the air, he rolls over, and Andrade lands on his feet and then cuts another moonsault and lands on him, where Matt Sydal rolled over to. That was really cool.
That's pretty dope.
So I think what we saw last night from Andrade was just an appetizer for what's to come. So I'm looking forward to him. I think he had a great debut last night. I think the overall Road Rager last night was a big success. The main event, Bucks and Kingston and Penta was fantastic. The show overall last night was really good. I'm looking forward to Fyter Fest next week.
Yeah. Nick Jackson makes me laugh every single time with that terrible hair dye and then those cut-off jorts that he had on.
Yeah, their fashion lately has been, been unique to say the least.
Yeah.
But, Fyter Fest next week taking place Cedar Park, Texas in the greater Austin area. As I pull up the match card for that, I have so many tabs open right here. So next week, and this was kind of just thrown out there, John Moxley is going to defend the IWGP US Championship against Carl Anderson. So John Moxley is returning next week. He's been out since Double or Nothing, obviously. Renee, just had their baby, so I'm sure he's been hanging out, getting some quality time with the family, so much deserved there for John Moxley. The first ever coffin match in AEW, Darby Allin versus Ethan Page next week. Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship next week.
What about Ricky Starks with that line? FTW to me means, or no, the W in FTW means wife.
Yeah,
me, Brian.
Yeah, I was
like, damn.
Yeah, Ricky Starks coming with it. That should be a really good match next week. Matt Hardy, Christian Cage next week. That's going to be, those are two guys that go back a very long way. So that'll be fun. Penelope Ford and Yuka Sakazaki.
God, Penelope Ford.
Yeah, I know, right?
God bless her.
And then, of course, we're also going to hear from Hangman Adam Page. So should be a fun week next week. As Tony Khan said on Busted Open Radio yesterday, they're going to try and stack all these cards for the whole month because this is their way of getting back on the road and what a big deal it is. So looking forward to next week. That's the match card for next week. And, of course, next week we're going to talk about it as well.
Can some of those cards include Ty Conti, please? She was on Dark Tuesday. And
yeah, it's been a while since Ty Conti's been, on Dynamite, actually. So,
oh, speaking of Dark, shout out to Moonshine Mantell, FTW superstar. Moonshine Mantell, I mean, he got obliterated by Lance Archer, but he had his AEW debut on Tuesday.
Yeah, all right. Good. All right. Shout out to Moonshine Mantell.
Moonshine Mantell.
Yeah,
Moonshine Ryan Mantell.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. Congrats on getting on AEW Dark. All right, next topic. We go from a fun topic to a little bit of a sour topic, but WWE star Jimmy Uso was arrested for another, and in the title it says another DUI in Florida. The 35-year-old wrestler was arrested on Monday for the second time in 2 years. He was driving in Pensacola with a blood alcohol content level of 0.205.
Is that a lot?
That is probably at least twice the legal limit. So 0.205, you've had some drinks.
Yeah.
Like, you are pretty messed up.
He seems like one of those guys, and I worked with a dude named Justin that was just like this. I drive better when I'm drunk.
Well, he was...
No, dude, it's scientifically impossible.
Well, he was going 50 miles an hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone, so he's going 15 over, which is, it's enough, obviously, to get pulled over, but it's nothing crazy. And he ran a red light, too, so that doesn't really help your cause. Let's see. He was caught back in July of 2019, caught driving 86 in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. He was later found not guilty in that case.
Found not guilty? How are you found not guilty?
I don't know,
like,
man.
If a cop put his laser gun on you and you were driving 86 in a 45, that's Vince and his money, dog.
But, yeah, so... WWE hasn't, I don't think, as far as I know, they haven't said anything about his arrest or anything, but...
Well, I was reading on some of these rumors that they really wanted to concentrate on Raw, and they didn't want that to deflect from it, and then they also want to concentrate on SmackDown, and they don't want that to reflect on it. So it sounds like they're just going to try to sweep it under the rug, like they've done the other three.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened so many times already, and I think what
does this say?
A lot of people I've read online say that WWE probably needs to maybe find him some help. Because I don't know if he has an alcohol problem or whatever the case may be, but obviously your fourth DUI. Something's not right. Something needs to change, in my opinion. And, and I think Jay has gotten pulled over once for DUI, I think. So they both have a DUI history with them, I believe, is what I read. I could be wrong. I don't want to speculate. But at least two other times I'm reading right here that Jimmy has been pulled over and arrested for DUI. But apparently if there is a problem, which it would appear there could be one, hopefully WWE can get with him and say, hey, look, let's figure out this problem and solve it because, because the Usos are a big asset to that company. And, of course, they just came out with the greatest tag team list of all time. I think the Usos were number 7 on there, which, I mean, hey, that's pretty high up on a list of WWE tag teams. So, I don't know. It's it's a shame. I don't know. Hopefully, if there's a problem, he gets the help he needs, because I don't see a situation where they're just going to let one Uso go, because I feel like the Usos are like a package deal in wrestling. So I don't know what's going to happen. If I had to guess, nothing's going to happen, at least from the WWE end. I mean, he's still going to be on TV, I guess. They might leave him off of TV a week or two. I don't know. Maybe internally they'll punish him. But, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a sad thing, but...
Yeah. And you know what? It probably, I would imagine, if he was working at a port somewhere or working as a mechanic somewhere, I would imagine he wouldn't be an alcoholic. But the fact that he's a wrestler and he puts his body on the line almost every single night, or he did pre-pandemic, you know, he's got to do something to numb the pain. And you can't take unprescribed painkillers. You can't smoke the weed. You know, you can't do these other things that are going to help you with the pain. So what is there left?
Well, I remember when
alcohol.
I remember when old Jake Hager got caught with a weed years ago, and then they punished him by giving him the world heavyweight title. So, I mean, hey, I don't know, but which weed's a little different than alcohol, but certainly, I don't know. It's
they're cousins.
Yeah,
and you still can't drive under the influence of marijuana either.
No, you can't.
So this dude needs to either Uber everywhere or he needs to go ahead and get him like a driver.
Get Roman to drive, I guess. I don't know.
No, just some schmuck off the street.
Maybe. I feel like, you know, of course, I don't know. I mean, in Pensacola, that's where they're from, so maybe they were back home just, you know.
But he's got to make better choices. Like if you're going to drink to kill the pain, I get it to a point. But, and then, of course, look, I've never, ever in my life been drunk. So I don't know how you formulate, I guess, like, ideas of what you want to do in your brain when you're inebriated.
Yeah.
But I would imagine at some point, after you've gotten to his point, you would be able to say to yourself, I probably shouldn't drive.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes when you're in that state, and at a blood alcohol content level of 0.205, I mean, I don't even know if I've ever drank that much. If I ever did, I probably passed out. But that's a lot of alcohol. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully, like I said, they get him right, and we'll see what happens with that. If he has some time taken off of TV or whatever the case may be. But they're about to go back on the road too, so I'm hoping that maybe them going back on the road, he'll have less downtime, because obviously they've been working out of one area, which is Tampa, Florida, and they're from Pensacola, or at least Roman's from Pensacola. I guess the Usos are from there too, so they're not far from home, so they probably get to go home and just kind of be around home where they're comfortable, and they got a lot of downtime and
a lot of alcohol.
A lot of alcohol, yes, absolutely. So I'm hoping that maybe now when they get back on the road, some of these wrestlers won't have as much downtime, which it sucks for them, because they got so used, I guess, to being around their families maybe a lot more, but now they're going to get back on the road. Maybe not as much as they were before the pandemic, but certainly they're going to get back on the road and have a little less downtime, and hopefully less time to get in trouble like that.
Well, what WWE needs to do, they need to start to realize, hey, the weed is a good thing for these guys. So they need to stop testing for THC completely. Because, like some of the sativas out there, I mean, and obviously if you get caught, you're still going to jail. Mm-hmm. But some of these sativas out there, you can think as clearly as you think when you're not high.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say it gives you even more concentration. I don't know.
I don't know either, but at the end of the day, hopefully Jimmy finds the help that he probably needs.
Start sparking the doobs, Jimmy.
I guess so. Speaking of doobs, there is a music festival that I had never heard of, and it's called.
Speaking of the doobs.
Speaking of the doobs, there's a music festival called Rolling Loud. It's a music festival, and I think they have like different versions of this festival in different cities throughout the year, but they're doing one in Miami coming up in a couple of weeks, and apparently WWE SmackDown is going to be a part of it. According to The article on WWE.com. WWE and Rolling Loud, the world's premier rap festival, today announced a new partnership that brings Friday Night SmackDown to Rolling Loud Miami 2021 on July 23rd. The occasion marks the first ever collaboration between WWE and a major music festival. Gracing the same stage as festival headliners Travis Scott, Post Malone, and A$AP Rocky, WWE superstars will compete in matches live from Rolling Loud Miami. The July 23rd edition of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox will feature a split-site broadcast with multiple matches at Rolling Loud Miami and the remainder of the evening held at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, you already got yourself a built-in crowd, right?
Yeah.
And then
I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull that off.
And then wrestling is such a big influence on the hip-hop culture. I mean, you know, you got all these songs about Ric Flair and stuff like that. So
Booker T.
Yeah. Maybe we could see a Ric Flair sighting there.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Get the crowd wooing.
What else has he got to do these days, you know?
Dang right.
But I'm curious to see how they're going to pull this off because, like, back in the 90s, you know, WCW went out to, like, Sturgis Bike Rally and things like that. Like, and AEW, you know, went on the Jericho Cruise, had a show from there. I was hoping they were going to do the whole show, but I forgot they already planned to go to Cleveland. So, from what I've been reading, most of the show is going to take place in Cleveland, but they're going to have two matches from the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami. I guess they're going to have a ring set up on one of the main stages. That's the thing. I am very curious to see how this is going to get pulled off. So now I feel that the July 23rd episode of SmackDown will draw even more viewers just to see how this is going to get pulled off. So, and then plus, obviously, they're going to be back on the road as well. So, which is going to draw me in as a viewer. I'm definitely looking forward to watching some WWE with fans in attendance. It's going to be a whole different vibe than the Thunderdome because I'm been over the Thunderdome. So, I'm just looking forward to seeing how they execute it, and I really hope that it's a success and that maybe WWE somewhere down the line, and AEW too, can start doing full shows from maybe these music festivals or big events like that. Because I think it's a really cool thing for the fans. I think it's a really cool thing for the viewers at home to kind of get. Because like I said, I've never heard of the Rolling Loud Music Festival, so I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like and what the vibe is, I guess, and by watching it through a wrestling program, I guess. So it's crazy to think about because, like I said, I've never seen this done before as far as a music festival. But
it's going to be on the beach, so we can see a lot of hoes and bikinis.
Yeah, I get exactly. Yeah, like didn't WCW used to do something like Bash at the Beach?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like those are unique, cool things that wrestling can do. And I'm hoping that WWE, this is like the first step in WWE maybe doing some cool things like this further down the road.
You think it would be like the ring is set up in the middle of the crowd? Because if it's up on the stage, it'd kind of be hard to see, I would imagine.
I don't know. That's
for the fans. In attendance.
I literally have no clue what this is going to look like. That's why I'm very intrigued to watch that episode of SmackDown to see how they're going to pull it off.
Well, and poor Raw. I mean, we've talked about this the past few weeks. Like, their ratings are tanking. It's getting worse every week, and they're left out of everything now because of Fox.
Well, Raw's on a Monday, so I don't know what kind of music festival they have on a Monday, but maybe they'll figure something.
That is true.
Maybe they'll figure something out for Raw. They can figure something out. Hopefully.
I know they're just probably sitting back going, "Oh yeah, they get another one." It's kind of like with me over here at our place. It's like, "Oh, okay, redheaded stepchild over here."
Yeah. All right. Let's move on now to Are They Worth It?
Yeah.
All right. AEW edition. So you're going to give me a name of a wrestler, and then I'm going to think of a number that I think that they're worth, and then you'll give me the real number, I guess, of what they make.
Right.
And I'll tell you whether they're worth it or not.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's start off with Pac.
Pac? Ooh,
yes.
Let me think. I guess I've never heard of any salaries from AEW. So I don't want to compare it to WWE because obviously WWE probably has more money than AEW. Maybe not by much.
I don't think he was making this much in WWE. No way.
For Pac, I'm gonna I got a number. Okay, I got a number. Go ahead and tell me.
Well, no. Tell me your number first.
I think Pac. I think what he's worth. I think he's worth $500,000 a year.
Damn, he's getting overpaid, son. $2 million.
$2 million a year.
Yes.
Well, I think he's.
Look,
I love Pac. Pac is great. If he's getting $2 million a year, man, they got some money over there.
Yeah. Oh, of course they do.
But of course he was just in the Double or Nothing main event too, so he's a main event caliber superstar. I was just trying to.
Well, let's put this in.
I have nothing to compare it to.
Let's put this. Okay, let me start off with this then. There has been not confirmation, but some very strong information out. Because when AEW started, we heard they're all getting health insurance. Mm-hmm. They're all going to make six figures, no matter if they're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
So the average, according to this story, the average star over at AEW makes $300,000 a year.
So that's the average.
That's the average.
So 500 would still be above average, which is obviously where Pac is, in my opinion.
Yes. So he makes $2 million. Is he worth it?
I would say yeah, because like I said, his in-ring ability is almost unmatched. He's a great heel. I would give him $2 million. Yeah, certainly. Okay. If I got the money, yeah, I think he's worth $2 million.
Nyla Rose.
Okay, this has got to be a little bit less than Pac. Now, like my numbers, I'm trying to think of. Like I got to change them up after that bombshell you just dropped me. Okay, I would say Nyla Rose. If Pac's getting $2 million, I would say then I would put Nyla Rose at about $500,000.
$2 million.
She's making $2 million as well.
Yes,
man.
And I think that's because she's kind of like AEW Sideshow. She's the first transgender women's champ.
Yeah, she's kind of like, I don't know, like I don't want to say she's their attraction, so not necessarily an attraction, but it's she's unique. Obviously, she's very unique. She's in a unique situation, so I don't think she's worth $2 million a year. Maybe $1 million, I think, because I mean, she's okay in the ring and whatnot, but I don't know. I just $2 million, like I said, that's crazy. That's like $2 million. Like, I'm trying to think who's making $2 million. Like, I don't even know if Roman Reigns is making $2 million in WWE or not. He might be, but
maybe not base salary, but with
now is that base salary or is that everything?
That's a good question. I don't know.
If that's base salary, that's a lot.
Cody Rhodes.
Oh God, what he's worth a lot. I'm gonna say I'll go $5 million.
Ooh, close. $3 million.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, that's good. Yeah, perfect.
It seems like the EVPs make around the same. The Bucks are said in this article to make around $2 million each. Kenny Omega $3 million as well.
Yeah,
with Cody. I don't know why the Bucks would take a pay cut like that.
I don't know.
Maybe they weren't as instrumental in forming this as we thought.
No, I'm sure they were, but.
Oh. Well, then they're little bitches.
Maybe because I don't know.
I'd be like, you're getting paid 3, and you're getting paid 3, and I'm getting paid 2. No, F that.
I don't know. Maybe they live together. I don't know. Maybe they share a house.
Let's see. Jericho's
got to be up there. I would not be shocked if Jericho made more than the EVPs. I said $5 million at Cody Rhodes. He's got $3 million. I'm going to go ahead and say I'll say $4 million for Jericho.
Very close. $3 million.
Okay.
So definitely worth that.
It seems like $3 million. Yo, absolutely. It seems like $3 million is the cap.
John Moxley.
I'd say he makes $2 million.
$6 million.
What? Oh, that's true. I do remember those numbers coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted to pull him from WWE because he didn't re-sign his WWE contract a couple of years ago.
Boy, that's like some Nick Saban numbers.
Okay, so John Moxley is obviously the cap. So yeah. I do remember that number coming out a couple of years ago, saying $6 million. But I think it's worth it for Moxley. I think Moxley, I mean, he's in the prime of his career right now. He had a great AEW title run. I think he's as hot as he's ever been right now. So, and when he comes back next year, yeah. Next week, yeah.
If you're Jericho, do you have a little bit of heat with that number?
No, because
$3 million's a lot of money.
Yeah, but also I think Jericho, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't think Jericho would have been around as much because I think he would have went tour with Fozzy. He'd have took breaks here and there, but he had nothing else to do. So obviously he's been around a little more often. But I think the deal probably when Jericho initially signed was, hey, I'm not going to be here every single week. I'm going to be here maybe 2/3 of the or 3/4 of the weeks, but I'm not going to be here every single week. So you can take down my pay a little bit, and then I'm at the end, and I'm hoping that Jericho realizes, I'm not the Jericho I was in 2005. This is I'm older, even though I got the experience and everything and the name recognition. I'm not going to be able to give you the 2005 Jericho in the ring, bell to bell, like I used to. I can give you something, but not $6 million worth, certainly. Jon Moxley can give you that.
So if you're paying Jon Moxley $6 million, would you put him in a tag team with Eddie Kingston?
The fans loved it. They listened to the fans, and after Moxley has the IWGP title, which I don't know what the rules are as far as how often he can defend that thing in AEW or whatever the case may be, but I think I don't know. I really don't know what their reasoning was. I mean, apparently Moxley and Eddie Kingston, I guess they go back a little ways, but putting them together maybe to help build them up, which Moxley doesn't need to be built up as a singles competitor, but maybe help build Kingston up a little bit because I think they see a lot of potential in Eddie Kingston, which he's great. He's great on the mic. He's okay in the ring, but his charisma is through the roof, and I think they're gonna, they teamed him up with Moxley. Obviously put him up against the Bucks and everything, put him on this stage to raise his stock a bit because they feel that he could be a breakout star in AEW. That's my thought.
And then one more.
Okay.
Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes. Now, I'm going to say, since he's Cody's brother, obviously, he's a Rhodes. He's got the experience. He's got the knowledge. And he can still go in the ring. I'll say $1 million.
They must have won some kind of lawsuit against the WWE because they're calling Cody Rhodes now. And
well, apparently WWE doesn't have the trademark for it anymore. The trademark expired. I think Cody filed for it, so that's why he can be Cody Rhodes now.
Nice. $2 million.
Okay, well, that might be
that's a stretch.
It's a little stretch because he doesn't. Well, I mean, he probably does a lot of stuff on Dark and AEW, Dark Elevation maybe, and stuff like that. And he shows up from time to time on Dynamite and wrestles and stuff. So, sure. But with his experience and knowledge and what he can pass along to the other superstars.
He made a run in and fought back Aaron Solo.
Yeah. And we never saw him again. They fought through the crowd, and that was it. We never saw him again. But with his experience, his knowledge, and everything, and what he can bring to the table as far as helping these up-and-coming guys, I think $2 million's worth it.
That's it.
Yeah, man, that's some big numbers.
That's some big cash.
That's some big number. Nyla Rose was a little surprising, but good for them saying, hey, we're going to pay the women the same as the men, and it sounds like they're doing that. Was Nyla the only woman?
No, Brandy Rhodes makes $2 million too.
That's too much.
But I mean,
it's a little
then
too
again,
much.
she's a Rhodes.
Yeah,
they're going to put themselves over no matter what.
She's a terrible wrestler. I mean, maybe she. I mean, obviously, she probably gets paid a lot more for the behind the scenes things, but
do you really think she has that much to do behind the scenes? Chief Branding Officer is probably not even a real position.
She probably does, and what I'm hoping is she does a lot behind the scenes, maybe, and take some off the plate to the EVPs because obviously they have to wrestle. So
I don't want to sound misogynistic, but I know this is going to come over that way. I mean, look, I'm sure she's just there to I don't even know if I should say this.
Might as well.
To give Cody a quickie in the office.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if that's been happening, but hey, more power to them if they can, fool around in the office. They're probably very busy people, so that might be the only time they have to fool around in the office. But no, I mean, I think she's, like I said, I mean, she's good as far as helping promote the brand, I guess, and things like that. But
she's good on the mic. She needs to be somebody's manager.
She's a good ring announcer.
Yeah.
which is I think what she was doing in WWE.
No, I'm talking about just on the mic in general. When she went in and cut that promo on Jade Cargill,
yeah,
which, by the way, what's been going on with Jade Cargill? Where's she been?
She's just waiting in the wings.
Apparently.
She's gonna. Don't worry, she's gonna break out soon. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, but that promo that she cut on her, that was amazing.
Yeah, she's good on the mic, but in the ring, no thanks. But yeah. So I don't know. $2 million for her.
But she's the chief branding officer.
Like I said, if she takes if she does a lot more backstage to take things off the plates of Cody, Omega, the Bucks, as far as what they do, like whatever the case may be, backstage stuff, non-wrestling stuff. If she handles a lot of that stuff and takes stuff off of their plate so they can focus a little more on wrestling, I think it's worth it.
Did Cody and the Brandy reality show start yet?
I have no idea.
Oh,
no clue.
Because I figure they probably want that with the little baby.
I guess they do. All right, let's move. Excuse me. Let's move on now to Rumor Mill.
Hey man, that throwback Houston shirt you're wearing,
Yeah.
got me thinking of Nolan Ryan and
Yeah.
Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio.
Yeah, we're going. Me and the girlfriend, we're going to the Astros game in a couple of weeks, so I had to get me an Astro shirt. I guess this is an Astro shirt.
Yeah, heck yeah, it is. That's like the old school colors, like when Nolan Ryan was throwing the heat.
Yep, I like it. She liked it too. So I like retro stuff. So
yeah.
So yeah, thanks. Appreciate the compliment there on the shirt.
No, I'll put you over.
Makes me feel better. I wish the fans out there could see it, but
yes. All right, so let's see where we're at here. Oh yeah, so during his appearance on Busted Open, which you referenced earlier, Tony Khan said he has surprises he's been saving until AEW got back in front of fans. You think this includes new wrestlers?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Like more WWE talent?
Possibly, yeah. Like Exhibit A last night. That's one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else that got released. I mean, there were so many people that got released.
Braun Strowman, maybe?
Yeah, Braun Strowman.
You would think he has to sign Braun Strowman, don't you think?
I don't know. That's the thing. I really don't know. I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head. Samoa Joe's name was out there, but obviously he's back in NXT now.
I mean, if you could sign all these WWE dudes, you got to sign Braun Strowman.
We'll see. I think there's going to be surprises. Also, there was the rumors of this trios belts. Maybe that's one of the surprises coming up at some point. I don't know. That's but
maybe with the pandemic, kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Not going away, but winding down. And you're in these open states like Texas and Florida.
Yeah,
maybe you can get some guys in from AAA and New Japan.
Maybe so. Maybe we get some New Japan guys and some bigger names or whatever the case may be. Make some one-off appearances or makes a handful of appearances. I don't know.
Okada shows up to have a banger with
that could easily
Omega.
That could easily be a surprise.
Yeah.
So obviously, we've talked about the Forbidden Door in the past. How AEW Impact, they have a little relationship. Obviously, they have to have some relationship with New Japan because Moxley still has the IWGP US belt. Kenta showed up. Yuji Nagata showed up. So there's some kind of relationship there. But looking forward to seeing what surprises old Tony Khan has up his sleeve.
Stuffed in that Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Fightful Select reports that NXT plans for Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine playing a big role in the cruiserweight title scene. Supposedly, he just signed a new deal. He's going to be around for a while, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he did.
So, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. If he's creating a new stable in NXT, he might be an NXT lifer because he's not that young, is he?
No, he's been around for 20 years now.
Yeah,
he's been in the red.
So probably
I don't know how. Let me see how old
mid to late 30s, maybe.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Roderick Strong age. He is 37 years old.
Yeah.
So he's still. I'd say he's still got 5, 6, 7 years of really good wrestling because he's in shape. So.
Yeah, but I mean, if you've been wrestling for 20 years, I mean, that bump card's pretty full, dude.
Hell, Adam Cole is only 32.
Really? I thought he was older than that.
Adam Cole is only 32 years old. That is
Wait,
unbelievable.
who is that again?
Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, okay.
He's only 32 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was in his mid-30s as well.
Yeah, I know. I thought he was older than that, but no, this guy is only 30.
Then what are they waiting on? Pull this guy up to the main roster. Put him on SmackDown.
Well, no, they'll probably ruin him if they do that.
Yeah, I mean, they will, but I mean, it just makes sense.
Now, Bobby Fish is another guy who was in the Undisputed Era. He's 44, so he's up there.
Damn, he doesn't look 44.
But Roddy Strong, 37 years old, so he's right there in his prime.
Yeah. So I'd imagine this means that he's going to be probably in NXT for the rest of his WWE career. I'd imagine.
For the foreseeable future, yeah. I would never rule out the possibility of him going up to the main roster at some point, but they've been in NXT for so long now.
I just don't see where he fits. He's not like he's not going to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with this.
Marina Shafir. You look up Roderick Strong. Marina Shafir's in the area, and the link to her Instagram popped up, so I just clicked on that. But continue.
What's she showing on that Instagram?
Not a whole lot.
I mean, she's not really that good looking of a lady.
No, she's pretty good looking.
Oh,
here we go. Some decent stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got
looks
some.
Good.
We got some derriere pics.
What does that mean?
The butt.
The
honky tonk badonkadonk?
No, not much of that.
Let's see. Look, if you're going to have an Instagram and you're a woman, why wouldn't you show the derriere?
She might not have much of a derriere going on back
probably.
there, but she's got other great assets.
Ruby Riott now billing herself as Ruby Soho, which that's a song. So I wonder if she got the go ahead where she can use that name.
I don't know, but
Is that from Pennywise?
I've never seen that.
Ruby Soho.
The
Ruby,
Pennywise,
Ruby Soho.
That's a band, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard that song. I've heard the band. I've heard of the band. I never heard that song though.
So she filed for the trademark The Runaway. So I guess she's going to call herself The Runaway Ruby Soho.
Maybe that's her finishing move.
Oh, maybe so.
Could be her finishing move.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that means she's going to be showing up somewhere.
Think AEW wants some of that?
Maybe she's one of the surprises.
Hey, see, and look, this is going to sound misogynistic again. I don't think that a woman wrestler would be a big enough surprise to say on Busted Open that you got a lot of surprises lined up.
Well, look, I think
that would be like booking Leo Rush as the Joker card.
Well, look, we've already gotten we got a huge surprise last night that, in my opinion, over-delivered a little bit.
Yes.
So I think if the next one under-delivers a little bit, it'll cancel out. But
you see, that sounds like my son. Elijah, you got a D. Yeah, but I also got an A last week. It doesn't matter. You still got a D. So I guess she may be AEW bound. She seems like she would work out well in AEW.
I think she would, yeah. That women's division is starting to take shape. I think they could add a few big names like Ruby. So, yeah.
I would like to see her create like a little punk rock stable, have some other, chicks that look kind of punk rock.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, there's no women's stables really. We got so many men's stables in AEW.
Yeah, you're right. There really isn't, and like a lot of some of the women are with the men's stables, like the Bunnies with the Hardy Family Office. Chris Statlander's with Best Friends and Orange Cassidy.
Julia Hart.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. Don't get me started. She's obviously with the Varsity Blondes. They're not a stable, but they're a tag team. But
yeah.
They go well together, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, if you have more than 2 members, I mean, you got to be a stable.
Well,
right?
I suppose, yeah. I guess you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But the Varsity Blondes, I guess she would be considered a member of the Varsity Blondes, but I feel like the Varsity Blondes are more centered towards Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. just as a tag team. So if you're just two people, you're a tag team. Obviously, you're not a stable. You have to have 3 or more. But yeah, excuse me. So yeah, they need some. I wouldn't mind some women's stables. I think they tried to do that once. the Nightmare Collective, and that did not work.
That was dumb.
That didn't even make it to the pandemic. So
that made it like one show, and they were like,
that didn't even make it to the pandemic. So
we got to get out of this thing quick.
I don't know. I think their way of doing it is they'll just put women with some of the other factions. So.
Seems like they don't care about the women's wrestling, kind of like WWE doesn't care.
No, I think they do, but they're starting to get, and that's why they're adding another hour of television. Is they're starting to get more and more and more people in there, and you got to have time for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the final thing we're going to talk about is the XFL and how the launch was pushed back to 2023. Of course, the league, which is now being run by The Rock. They pushed their relaunch season back to the spring of 2023. The original plan was to launch next spring in 2022, but the delay was revealed after it was announced that the XFL and the CFL will not be working together. The two leagues entered into talks several months ago, but those talks did not produce any official working relationship. The Canadian Football League announced this morning that their talks with the XFL have been positive and constructive, but the two sides have jointly decided to not pursue any formal arrangements. The XFL then issued a statement to Sports Business Journal and confirmed the new launch date of the spring of 2023.
Yeah, I saw this on Facebook the other day, and I was like, it was on the CFL's Facebook, and when they posted that they weren't going to enter in with the XFL this season, I was like, oh, what's going on here? Did a little digging. Look, get it right. We can wait another year. We got enough football to tide us over. Just get it right, because the XFL, when it came back the second time, was magical, dude.
Yeah.
It was such good football. So if you need another year to get it right, I'm all about it. Get that thing right. But I will say this. I've been looking at a bunch of YouTube channels, and it's really interesting the speculations out there of what a season would look like with a deal between the CFL and the XFL, where their games just be exhibition games where they really don't mean anything, or would it be interleague games? Because the XFL season's going to be shorter because they have less teams than the CFL season. Mm-hmm. So one guy said you can play CFL and XFL interleague games up to a certain point, then have a playoff system with the XFL and CFL teams.
Yeah.
Then you have like a mid-season break, and then the CFL continues to play their season up to their playoffs and Grey Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like it would be kind of, because you got your suckier teams that aren't playing for a few weeks. And do you count the records in the overall CFL season in the playoffs with the XFL with all these other teams that haven't played? I don't know. It seems like it would be kind of weird.
Yeah, but I was actually kind of pumped about the possibility of the XFL and the CFL combining forces, because I think it would help the CFL and I think it would help the XFL, not as much as the CFL, but I think it would help both teams, both leagues in different ways. But I think as long as they continue to do the XFL like it was supposed to be done last year, I think they'll be okay.
Well, it would help the CFL out a lot, because now you're getting on American TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you're just on TSN and maybe ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
On an app.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to be on whoever the XFL has a channel deal with.
Well, the CFL, they would play some games on like ESPN and stuff, so...
Yeah,
it would be a simulcast of TSN, but they would still show it on ESPN.
Yeah, like the thing that I'm thinking though, the CFL pays their players a lot more than the XFL,
mm-hmm.
so they're going to get better caliber players. I think the CFL teams would kick the crap out of the XFL teams.
Well, that's another thing that would be very interesting about a collaboration, to see, all right, which teams are better, where do each team stand and compare to one another, or where the leagues stand and compare to one another. And
then which rules are you going to use? Because obviously CFL, you only have 3 downs.
Mm-hmm.
You have
that might have been where the negotiations broke down. Like, we play the same sport, but we got so many different rules that we can't meet in the middle and come up with a way to make it work both ways.
The dimensions of the fields are different.
Mm-hmm.
You have multiple motions in CFL, which the XFL would probably want to gear itself more to a NFL style rule book, seeing that they want to be kind of like a developmental league. So that'd be interesting too.
Yeah. I just got the AEW numbers from last night.
Oh, nice.
871,000 viewers, which is slightly down from last week. But I think the Malaki Black debut last night, I think that's going to bring the numbers up next week.
But you know what? The thing that I don't get about AEW, it seems like they don't have very many continuing storylines to get people hooked in every single week.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
It's a bunch of like one-offs.
Yeah, it kind of is. Some instances, but I think also in other instances, like the Matt Hardy Christian Cage thing next week, that's kind of been brewing for about a month or so. Darby Allin and Ethan Page, that's been kind of brewing a little bit. But like John Moxley and Carl Anderson, like where the hell did that come from? You know.
Yeah.
So some instances there's a storyline there. Some instances not so much.
Yeah, I mean, and they tried with an interview package to, get the hype going for Darby and Ethan on Dynamite. But, I think they need to do that continuous storyline stuff a little bit more often.
Yeah.
Because the only one that I really thought about or, coming into that thing was, well, obviously Cody and QT.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them I really didn't think about.
Nope, you're right.
So that's about it, huh? That's a show?
That's it. I have nothing else.
Well, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us wherever you're at: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast. If you like what we do and you want to help us out, but maybe you don't have a lot of money to spend, if you shop on Amazon, we're an Amazon affiliate, so it's perfect. No extra money is put to your cart. They give us a little commission for sending traffic there. So tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP, Amazon AMP. Bookmark that on your browser, whether that's on your phone or your PC or your Apple device. And then every time you shop on Amazon, your boys get a little commission. And we can use that to help the show. It would go a long way, and it's a really easy way. Probably the easiest way to help support the show.
Yep, certainly is.
All right, Patrick, get us out of here, son.
Outro.
You've been listening to the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast with David Boston and Patrick Fry. All opinions discussed in the show are those of Average Marks and do not represent any wrestling company, organization, or individual. This has been a Lake Area Media, LLC production.